What's up guys, it's TheCasualAussie back again for another Digimon TCG deck profile on the channel. Today I have my Yellow Varodurumon deck profile for you. Definitely not a deck I have seen online. I did want to try something different for a yellow deck because I don't have everything I need for Yellow Varodurumon. I think I'm missing a few cards here and they're definitely missing 1 or 2 copies of the Varodurumon itself. But in the meantime, I decided to bring you this deck. Mostly because it's gimmicky, it's fun, and I wanted to try something new. So without further ado, let's just jump into it. You just ignore the bird in the background if you can hear it. But anyway, starting off with the Digix, I play 4 copies of the Koromon, then 1 copy of the Upamon. So with Koromon, when attacking once per turn, if you have 3 or fewer security cards, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 1000 DP for the turn. This deck is a bit of a DP reduction deck, so having this is quite nice, and it is the better yellow egg out there coming from BT4. Then we have Upamon from 1.5, when attacking once per turn, if you have 3 or fewer securities, trigger draw a card. So yeah, that's also another thing with this yellow deck. Yellow in general, a lot of the effects require you to have 3 or fewer security, but it is possible, but this deck doesn't really revolve around that. As I said, it's more DP reduction with stuff like Varodurumon itself, Patamon, but we do have some cards that make use of reducing the security, so these cards are kind of nice. Actually, a few cards I have through the security trash thing, but hey, this is nice. I love these ratio. Probably wouldn't play anything else. I think this is the best ratio for any yellow deck in the current metagame. Actually, in the game in general. Like, those eggs are quite nice. Okay, moving on to the rookies, I start with 4 copies of Patamon, 3 copies of Salamon, 3 copies of Lopmon. Let me just try and place this down somewhere because this is awkward. I have not recorded like this in maybe a week or 2. So yeah, this is kind of... No, that's tilted the wrong way. These up. Sorry about this. I'm still getting used to recording these. I think I need to... Okay, then we move these down here. And then finally, we have 2 copies of the Bushi Agumon, and then finally 2 copies of the Tsukaimon. So let's start with Patamon from the starter deck, but way back when the game was first released. Once per turn, when an opponent's Digimon is deleted by dropping its DP to 0, gain a memory. Just an easy way to gain extra memory in this deck. Does come up often, and with a lot of ways to drop your DP, you can get some good memory gains off of this card. It's once per turn per Patamon, so you can have multiple Patamons under some of your bigger guys, and you match delete some Digimon. That's 1 per Patamon. So potentially you can get like 4 memory if you somehow have it for all these under something at any given time. Anyway, with Salamon on deletion, if you have 3 or fewer security cards, trigger recovery +1. I only play 3 of this card because you do need 3 or fewer security cards to get the recovery, but at the same time, having this card to gain the recovery is quite nice. It is 4 to hard play, but 0 to evolve into, so that is why I do play it. It's just good in the late game if you just want to crash into your opponent. If it gets deleted, it doesn't matter because you'll have you'll get an extra security. Your opponent would have lost the security, so it's not a bad card overall. Then with Lopmon on play, look at the top card is just the security stack. You may add that card to hand to trigger draw 1. So that's just to drop your security a bit. So you can make use of the Salamon. You can make use of some of the other cards in this deck. Like, what do we have? We have Varodurumon, Eden's Javelin, Angelwoman as well. That's probably the main card I was thinking of there. Just a really, really good card. And then we have 2 copies of the Bushi Agumon. 5 to hard play, 0 to evolve into. Just a great late game finisher if you need him. That's really all he's here for. After all, that 5 hard play cost is quite expensive. But as I said, it has rush, so you can play it on the turn so you can attack with it on the turn you played is what I should be saying. Which can close out games. And then 2 copies of Tsukaimon, because Tsukaimon is just here to be a 2-drop. I if I didn't play Tsukaimon, I'd probably play a third Bushi and maybe a third, or actually maybe not a third Bushi, maybe a fourth Lotmon and Salamon. It's all up to you. This deck is very experimental, so I am still testing around with ratios. And Varodurumon itself, there are a lot more better cards than it around, so do need to figure out what exactly works with Varodurumon itself. I don't have Pulsemon because that is a promo and hard to get. Otherwise, I would definitely play Pulsemon. Anyway, moving on to the champions, I play 4 copies of Turuimon. I do not know how to pronounce that off the top of my head. I apologize. We have 4 copies of Petermon, which I honestly just think is an Angemon. Can someone tell me the difference between Angemon and Petermon? I really want to know. Then we have 2 copies of Unimon. And then finally 2 copies of Gatomon. So with, Turuimon, it's a, this rabbit thing. It's a 1 cost to evolve into Digimon. It's basically Dark Tyrannomon for yellow, which is why I do play 4 of it. And you can't go wrong with 1 cost to evolve into champions. You really cannot. Also, with Petermon, it is a blocker. It is the 5k 1 to evolve into blocker we've been getting in set 4. I do like it. I also play Unimon, which is the 2 cost blocker from the starter deck. Yellow does not have that many good champions for the deck, so having at least 6 blockers is quite nice. And then finally with Gatomon, when attacking one of your opponent's Digimon, gets minus 1000 DP for the turn, just to help you either get over something or delete something that's weaker that you've already powered down a bit. It can come up. It does come up sometimes. So that's why I play that ratios. I have thought about playing a third and a 4th copy of Unimon, just making the yellow line just block a central. It's an idea I've been thinking about. And moving on to the ultimates. This is where the ratios get a little weird. We have 4 copies of the War Groundmon, 2 copies of the starter deck Angelwomon, 2 copies of Sirenmon. Just let me set that there. We have 1 copy, and finally we have 1 copy of the Angemon from set 1.5. So with War Groundmon came out in the Great Legend Booster set. During your main phase, you could Digiburst 2. One of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 4000 DP for the turn. If you've evolved this all the way up, that means you can do it twice. It's not hard once per turn, which is quite nice. But I love War Groundmon. Unfortunately, Yellow does not have any when this card is sent to your graveyard by a Digiburst effect added to your hand rookies. It does not have that, unfortunately. But still, War Groundmon is just good being able to get rid of your opponent's tougher Digimon, or power your opponent's Digimon down so you can swing over them. Anyway, with the security effect, while you have 3 or fewer security cards, this Digimon gets plus 1000 DP. And Yellow is kind of on the weak side, so being able to get some extra power behind your place is never a bad thing. 2 Angelwoman, because when Digivolving, when you have 3 security or less, recovery +1, just to get some extra security back and stall out a bit. That's really all Angelwoman's here for. I do play it at 2 because you don't see it often. You want to see it when you need it. You don't want to see it any later or any earlier. Yeah, Angelwoman just helps to play prolonged games. And then we have Sirenmon, who is a 2-cost ultimate to evolve into with 6k DP. There might be better options out there for a 2-cost ultimate for yellow, but I can't remember at the top of my head. This was the first thing I saw when I was building this deck. And it does work pretty well, even though this deck is still in testing. And then finally we have the Angelwoman from, the rare Angelwoman from BT5. This card I'm considering bumping up and playing 3 War Groundmon to this. But anyway, when Digivolving, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus security attack 2 until the end of your opponent's next turn. So just being able to prevent your opponent's Digimon from actually dealing you damage, it's nice. Yellow has really bad longevity, and with all the deep security reduction effects, you do want to prolong as much as possible, but an Angelwoman can help you to do that. But anyway, with the Andrew Woolmon's inheritable skill, if you have 3 or fewer security cards, you may play 1 level 3 yellow Digimon from your hand without paying memory cost when attacking. It's not bad. Can come up. I'm not sure how often it comes up. I've never actually resolved that effect because I've just never had the rookies in hand because I'm the type of player who will try and get out as many rookies as quickly and try and rush my opponent down that way. I probably should slow it down a bit, but hey, if it comes up, it can be useful. Get that extra body on board, like get a rookie on board, evolve it into a 1-cost blocker and your turn there. That's with your opponent 1 memory. It can come up. It's not bad, though. Honestly, it could actually this kid actually get out the Bushy Agumon, which honestly at that note I probably should be playing more of this, but I only have 1 copy of it. But yeah, that's something to think about. It does have synergy with Bushy Agumon and can help you tie up games. Anyway, moving on to the Megas. This is where the lineup gets truly interesting. I play 3 copies of the Varodurumon, 2 copies of /Angemon, and then finally 2 copies of the Yellow Varodurumon. So with Varodurumon, during your main phase you can Digiburst 3. All your opponent's Digimon get minus 4000 DP for the turn. So yeah, it is really just a big mass DP reduction. It does come up. I only played 3 of this because I thought 4 was definitely too much. The cost to Digiburst 3 can be a bit high at times, I found, but I still want to build a deck around it, and it can come up, especially for like mass board clearing, which this deck can easily do with stuff like Varodurumon. Play Volderon, which we'll get into in a second, Eden's Javelin, War Groundmon. Like, there are plenty of DP reduction cards in this deck, so being able to mass DP reduce and then just try and swing over your opponent's troublesome Digimon does come up a lot more often than you think it would. Anyway, with /Angemon, when Digivolving, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 8000 DP for the turn. We all know how good /Angemon is. Back in the old /Angemon Kentaurismon builds you see floating around on YouTube from set 1, it does come up, and /Angemon is such a great card. It's basically a better one of Varodurumon, if I'm being honest. But it's fine, it's fine. It only works on 1 Digimon, but hey, as I said, it's slightly better than Varodurumon, and I want to include 2, just because that minus AK can come in clutch. Really, it really does. But anyway, with War Greymon, the Yellow War Greymon, like as I said earlier, I did want to build a deck around this card, but I figured to include it here too, because it is such a power play. When attacking once per turn, you may add the top card of your security stack to your hand, unsuspending this Digimon, and then one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 6000 DP for the turn. Absolutely insane. They can fit it. Honestly, it's absolutely insane. Like, the amount of DP reduction this deck has, and War Greymon can then attack again. So you're getting rid of a lot of your opponent's resources and security all in the same turn with this deck. It is a wild once it goes off. But anyway, moving on to the level 7s, I only played 2 Chaosmon Volderon. That's really all you need for this deck. When Digivolving, activate the following effect twice. One of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 7000 DP for the turn, and since you activate that twice, you can wipe out stuff like Millenniumon. You can just target both Digimon. You target the same Digimon with this effect, so you can get rid of a lot of Megas. You can just target 2 separate Digimon, and if you've got enough bodies on board, just crash over them to get rid of your opponent's hard-made resources. And then on deletion, gain 3 memory. It's nice. I haven't actually had this be deleted yet, but hey, extra memory does not hurt at all. It really does not. Anyway, moving on to the options. This part of the deck is actually still very much in testing, but I am playing 2 copies of the Eden's Javelin, and then 1 copy of Blinding Ray, not Blinding Way. Anyway, with Eden's Javelin, main draw 1, then when your first Digimon gets minus 1000 DP for each card in your hand. I've played against a few yellow decks that actually use this card, and Yellow can get a lot of cards in their hand. Crazily. They really can. And being able to activate this effect for free in the security, it's great when it comes up. It really, really is. And finally with Blinding Ray, trash the top card of your security stack, then gain 2 memory. Just an extra memory push when you need it. That's really all it's here for. I'm only testing it at 1 because I'm not sure whether I like this card. Trashing security is just not something I like to do personally, but I figured, hey, give it a test run and see what happens. But anyway, finally, for the final card of the deck, I play 3 copies of TK So it's just the memory tamer. So if you have 2 or less memory at the beginning of your turn, set to 3, and then on play, look at your security stack, reveal 1 card in it, and add to your hand. If it's yellow, you recover +1. Everything in this deck, barring the Chaos Mod Voldemorts, is yellow, so you do get cards, and it is 4-cost hard play. You do get cards, you get recovery, so you're not losing any security, really, and you get an extra card in your hand to go off on plays with. 3 of it is enough. 4, I find, is a bit too cloggy, especially since this isn't a Shine Greymon build, which I might be bringing to you guys sometime in the future. Hopefully I will be. But anyway, that is the final card of the deck, and that is the end of the deck profile. So let me know if you guys enjoyed this deck profile. What would you change in this deck overall? Because, as I said, it is a very experimental deck, so I do want to improve it. Pulsemon is probably on top of my list. If it wasn't for that price tag, I would probably go out and get some ASAP. But anyway, I'm going to end this video here. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please hit that like button down below. Don't forget to let me know what your favorite deck in the Digimon TCG is. And also let me know what decks you want to see on the channel in the future. There's a link to my Twitter down in the description below, so follow me on there for more updates and uploads. But anyway, I'm going to get out of here for now. So until next time, stay frosty.